Hello everyone and Selamat Hari Wanita Sedunia. Happy International Women's Day. Joining us is Ms. Jasmine Ng, a trailblazer in Malaysia's financial and technology sectors. Ms. Jasmine is deeply committed to social impact. She is the co-founder of multiple initiatives like Women in Blockchain, Asia, Endgame and Epic Homes, all of which empower communities and drive inclusivity. Through her role as the Vice Chair of the Board of JA Malaysia, Ms. Jasmine is passionate about empowering youth, Malaysians, particularly females, with financial health, entrepreneurial skills, and the tools to drive in a global economy. Hello, Ms. Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining us today, and happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day, Aina. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a privilege and an honor to share my thoughts with regards to the role of a woman in the shaping of society and community beyond the family.
All right, so growing up in Malaysia, we just want to know, what dreams did you have as a child, and how did those dreams evolve into the career and success you have today?
I was born in a very typical actually lower class Chinese family. As I was sharing earlier, I was born into Old Klang Road. And this is a bit embarrassing, but I will be very open and transparent. I swore before I could form a proper sentence together. That's the background that I come from. Now, as to having dreams, because when you're born in a very traditional Chinese family, and my grandparents had that mindset, where daughters are to be married out and therefore investments into their future is not really necessary. The only thing necessary for a girl is to make her attractive enough for a man to want to marry her, and that's the obligation of a parent and a grandparent. Of course, that is not the case. And I'm very thankful that my father didn't necessarily agree with that. So what my grandfather thought was to be a girl's lot. My father said, no, let her study. She should study to the best of her ability. As long as she's willing to study and she can pass her exams, I will continue to finance her. So that was my break. As to dreams, I didn't have many dreams. My one dream was, because we come from that family where girls' education is not a priority. The only priority is for the boys to be educated, for the boys to be successful. So my only dream at that time was to be a stewardess. And I failed because I was a pudgy little girl. I was a fat girl, actually. So I didn't pass any stewardess examination. But thankfully, I studied well. And so I made it into university. And as to realizing my dreams, no, I never became a stewardess, though I traveled a lot.
Right, from all of that, what still motivates you up until today?
You should not be limited by people's beliefs, or they don't mean harm, but they've been raised with that societal community values and culture. You should not be limited by that. The only limit is the limit you place on yourself. And so that was one of the things that I learned from a young age, that when you allow people to put their limit on you because they don't realize it, then you are limited.
That resonates very closely to me as well. So, and from what you said, right, you wanted to be a stewardess when you grow up. So basically we're saying here that life doesn't always go as you plan it to be. And setbacks can be overwhelming to some people, right? Especially for young people nowadays, it can be very devastating. So maybe you can share some of the challenges that you faced in your journey and how you turn that challenge into an opportunity for growth, and what advice you could share to someone who feels stuck and not motivated to continue with their dreams or their ambition.
Though I studied, I wasn't always a straight A student. So there are times that I did fail exams, but one of the biggest devastation was not getting the first job I wanted. So beyond a stewardess, when I finished my university education, I wanted to join the advertising firm. And my father said, you should also try the banks, because they are very stable career. God bless my dad. Now, I sent out 50, so I come from a time where you send out, there's no LinkedIn, there's no Job Street, you send out these CVs with the 50-cent stamp, you put dear HR manager, and you put the address of the company and you post it. So I sent out 50 CVs to 50 different advertising organizations. I sent out 3 CVs to the banks as obedience to my father. None of the advertising companies came back. Not one. But the banks came back. So I was sad about no advertising company wanting me. Of course, the banks called, so of course we go for the interview. And I got into the bank. And that started a almost 30-year career. Now, looking back, I was actually very unhappy. But with time, I'm thankful that I didn't let that stop me from taking on the next available option. So this is what we always say, when a door closes, a window opens. So you should look for that window and look and go. You should not stop yourself from carrying on. We always say that success is not forever, failure is not fatal. So just because you're successful, that doesn't mean the success will last forever. And just because you fail now, it doesn't mean everything ends. It is the courage to carry on that matters the most.
I agree. So how do you want to say to the younger generations now too? Because they tend to focus more on the failure rather than the journey of after that, right? Like what you mentioned. So maybe you can share something that really resonates close to you regarding that, so that we can inspire these young females as well to not focus on that too much until it affects them emotionally, mentally. So maybe you can say a few words about that.
Well, we've lived long enough to know that everybody goes through failure. No one is exempt. Everyone goes through failure. But what is the difference between a person who is successful and a person who is known as a failure? Is just the fact that you stop moving forward. That's all. So what is the greatest motivation for a person who stumbled to carry on and do better? Is the fact that, do you want to be the person to be known as a failure? Or do you want to keep trying to know who is the real you? Because you're not a failure. Nobody is born a failure. We all go through difficult stages. We would have gone through failure in episodes, just like when I couldn't get the job that I wanted. I was too fat. I couldn't become a stewardess. Advertising companies didn't like how I look or what. I'm not too sure. But I didn't get the top 2 selection of my choices. Does that stop me? It shouldn't. It didn't. I was sad, but it didn't stop me. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for moving on, for trying.
Here you are.
And here I am, having this conversation with you.
Yes, exactly. So now we mentioned about that, right? Maybe let's imagine you are sitting in a room full of Malaysian teens today, right? One piece of advice that you feel that, hey, if I was at that age, I wish somebody would have told me that, right? About preparing for the future. And because the world is so evolving very quickly, how do you think they can stand out and thrive in a global economy?
So I would tell them that each of them carry a unique gift. Irreplaceable. Just like our fingerprint. There is no double set. God didn't make a spare. So if you don't fully realize your potential, the world loses something. Whether you're aware of it or not, the world does lose something. So please, for the sake of the rest of us, do the best you can with what you have. And the fact of the matter is, remember this, you're not alone. One of the things that I realize the young people think is, I'm alone. And the only community is online. That's not true. There are actually people around you, whether it's your teachers, your parents, your other family members, and friends, good friends, who are there to help you. Not everybody is there to put you down. People are there to help you. You just need to reach out. So do not deny the world of the gift that has been placed in you. Make the best of yourself so that the world becomes a better place.
That's really powerful, because I think that's a message that a lot of younger generations don't hear much. They tend to always focus more on the negative side and don't realize that actually beyond that, there are a lot of people supporting them in wanting them to achieve what they want to achieve, right? So
Definitely.
I think that's a very strong message to share. So on this International Women's Day, what does this day actually mean to you personally? And what message would you like to share with women and girls in Malaysia about embracing their potential and pursuing their goals?
Coming back to what I have to say about young people, women in particular are amazing, amazing people. We have the ability to nurture and to build. Now, who else is going to carry that out? Whether you're doing this in the family environment, in the corporate environment, in a school environment, you are unique, you are amazing. Do not let society dictate you in terms of saying, as a woman. The minute you hear that phrase, you decide for yourself, no, I'm not permitting this limit. I am a person. I am a human being. I am gifted. What is my gift? Let me realize that.
I really agree with the fact that you said, don't let anyone limit you. You know your own potential, and it will take time, but you will get there.
Yes.
Just like how you are a great example of that, right? We can actually look up to you for that. So it has been a very incredible conversation with you, Ms. Jasmine. So we want to say thank you so much for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your vision with us. So to the youth of Malaysia, remember, the future is yours to shape. And stay bold, stay curious, and always believe in the power of your dreams. So maybe, Ms. Jasmine, we can both together say Happy International Women's Day?
Definitely.
Right? 3, 2, 1.
Happy International Women's Day!